everyone, this is Heather Cooper of Playing with Papercrafting. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Crafty Clues by Heather. Well, today I thought I would go back to basics and talk a little bit about adhesives. Now, when you first started stamping, you probably used something like this Snail. It's a double-sided tape runner. At Stampin' Up! We say it's simple, neat, affordable, and in line. That's where the name Snail comes from. And it's perfect for all different types of card making and paper crafting. I'll show you a little bit about how it works. It's got a little cover that you can open and hold in place. If you look at the top, there are ridges, and that's where your finger goes. And then you hold it on the side. And then when you go to apply it, you just simply run it along the paper, and it leaves its sticky little trail behind. And you can use as much or as little as you like, depending on how thrifty a stamper you are. And then you simply apply it to your card base. But as you progress in your craft, you're going to find a dizzying array of other adhesives, and I'll just show you in our Stampin' Up! Catalog. We have a whole page full of them, and you might think, well, what do I need all those for, and when would I use them? So I'm going to try and help you out with that a little bit today. The next most common adhesive we use is the Tombow Multipurpose glue, and it has two applicators actually on the bottom. I hardly ever use this, but it's good for a large area and smoothing, getting an even application of glue. What I really like is the very narrow tip of our adhesive and how easy that makes to apply just a small amount, which is what you want. When would you use this? I use it more and more now because it gives you some time when you're applying a panel to a card to just get it right. It gives you a little bit of time to play around with it. Now, there are some tricks to using this. The first thing is, make sure you shake the glue down to the end first before you squeeze it, because if you have to squeeze hard to get it down to the end, chances are it's going to come out really thickly. So give it a little shake to get it down, and then just enough pressure to keep the glue running, but you don't want a ton of it. And I always add a little squiggle in the middle, and that's always fun. And then you pick your paper up, hopefully not being klutzy like me and getting glue on your fingers. And then it just gives you a moment or two to play around to make sure you've got your panels just where you want them, and it'll hold your card together for a long time. So if you want your card to stay together and not come apart, then the Tombow Multipurpose glue is what you want to use. But there are other adhesives and many different uses for them. We have a two-way glue pen. And there's a couple of things that I like to use that for. One is for my clear mount stamps. So I used to not put the label on because I found that it just wouldn't stick very well to the acrylic block. So then I found out that if I put the label on and just apply a thin layer of the two-way glue pen, and wait for it to dry completely, and then it makes a semi-permanent bond, and you can adhere your stamp to the block, and it's not going to come off easily. So now that's what I use it for all the time. The other thing that the two-way glue pen is useful for, because of the applicator tip, is great for small types of lettering and things like that you want to add to your card. So I used it on this paper pumpkin project. I cut out, die cut some of these smaller letters, and the two-way glue pen was perfect for that because you got just a little bit of glue in the areas that you needed it, and it made it easy to apply. One thing you should know about this is that when you first apply it, it's blue, and if you adhere your pieces together before it changes, then it'll be a permanent bond. If you wait till it goes white, or clear rather, not white, then it's a semi-permanent bond, which is handy for a lot of things. I also use it when I'm doing thank you cards for my customers, and I have a little insert that I put in them, and I want them to be able to use this card again. And so I just use the two-way glue pen on the back of the insert, wait till it dries, and then I pressure fit it into the card, and they can peel it off and reuse the card. We also have sticky strip. Now, sticky strip is really useful when you have 3D projects and projects where there's going to be a lot of pressure on the bond that you create with it. I use it, for example, in these card-in-a-box projects, and it keeps them together because there is a little bit of pressure on them when you close them and when you open them again, and a regular adhesive would not give you as permanent a bond and as strong a bond. So I also use it when I make the rosettes, and this one is not finished, but to hold the pieces together and keep them from coming apart when you put pressure on them to close them, it's perfect for that. Now, while we're on the topic of rosettes, you'll notice that I have something here in the middle which is called a jumbo sticky round, and when I pull off the film, it's really sticky and I can apply it to any project that I want. This is how they come. In a container, there's actually 6 of them. I've used 2 of them already. But I use these when I'm making flowers as well. Anything where you need a very strong adhesive. It's akin to the sticky strip in how strong it is, but it's just in a round form and really good for things like this. Crystal Effects is another adhesive we have. It can be used as a glue, but it's like a clear craft lacquer. And you can use it to make raised, shiny embellishments to add to your stamping projects. So you can just add a layer of the Crystal Effects, and you can see that it kind of pulls up. Get a little bit more on this side. And then you have to let it dry. It takes a while to accomplish that. I've already got one done so that you can see what it looks like. So this is what you get, that little raised effect on there. Let's go on to Stampin Dimensionals. These are adhesives that I use every time that I craft a card almost, and they just are used to give dimension to the projects that you're doing. On this card here, I used it to raise up this little flower, to raise up this portion of the banner and the banner itself. I'll just show you how it works. So you just peel them off of the backing and put them onto the piece that you want to pop up on your picture. I should probably have done 3s, but that'll be good. Let's move this one over a little bit. You have a little bit of time to play with it before it's terminally sticky. So then you can just peel off the backing like this and mount it onto your card like that. And you can see that it's popped up a little bit. Okay, then there's glue dots. I used glue dots on these butterflies. So they're small, but and they're not completely, like I didn't want them completely glued down because I wanted to have them a little bit more 3D. So I used the glue dots, and that holds them really firmly, and you only need to have a contact point, a small contact point. They're good for heavier embellishments like these buttons, which are really secure with a couple of glue dots. So how do you use a glue dot? Well, I'm going to show you with this dried little button that I made for the flower. So the glue dots are hidden underneath the cover, and of course when you think about it, you need that because otherwise if it was off, it would be sticking to everything in sight. So how do you get a glue dot? Well, once you roll it back, you can press the piece that you want right onto the glue dot, and it'll pull the glue dot right off the backing, and then you can just add it to your piece. You can also use scissors or a craft knife to peel them off and add to your project if you like. And that just about covers the basics of adhesives, an overview. Of course, there's a lot more that you can learn about each one, but I hope that clears up this confusion for you about what adhesive to use and when. So please drop by my blog, playingwithpapercrafting.com, for more card making samples and tips.